Hey guys, welcome back to Frequency Friday. I was just double checking. Episode 13. Pretty awesome. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So, for tonight's episode, we're going to have some fun. I've always wanted to do a video of like the new record day way of setting up speakers. The problem is that, well, it's always evolving. And I think that when it comes to speaker placement, it really could come down to what it is that you're going for. And that's where I started to get pretty inspired about tonight's episode. So, Soundstage is, I would say, for me, numero uno. It is the king, the most important element, attribute, the thing that I desire the most when it comes to hi-fi is Soundstage has got to be there. So, what is that? What is Soundstage? Simply put, my definition, the new record day definition of Soundstage is there are no speakers in the room. It's that simple. Honestly, we could we could be long-winded about it, but at the end of the day, I don't want to hear speakers at all. If I know where a tweeter is, if I know where a woofer is, if I know where a mid-range is, if I know where any element of the actual physical speaker, if I can hear it, then it's not perfect. So, what I want to do is I wanted to take a minute talking to you about one really good way, one method that, well, I don't think anybody that I've ever seen or watched or heard has ever talked about this process the way that I'm going to. So, did I invent this? Heck no. Who am I kidding? But it's very unique and it's a bit different in terms of how you can go about setting up your speakers to get Soundstage and to get it very quickly, and you will know it. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it. So, most speaker setup tutorials, anybody that's talking about setting up speakers, they will often say something along the lines of start at the front wall and get your speakers up there and play some music and then start moving them out into the room, 1 foot at a time and blah, blah, blah. We're not going to do that at all. So here's what we're going to do. This is going to sound weird, but, well, I'm Ron, and this is New Record Days, so you guys should know this by now. You want to do this at night. You want to make sure that you can get the room dark, okay? If you live in a basement, then I guess just turn off the lights. But, yeah, we're going to actually be doing that, which I'm getting ahead of myself. Forget all audiophile music. Don't reach for something that you've never heard before, and don't try to get something that is, oh, it's the greatest recording in the entire world. Forget all that. Don't even focus so much on what the actual piece is. What I'm going to ask you to do is this. Find something that you are familiar with and that you like. That's the only criteria. If you're into the Beatles, throw on some Beatles. If you're into CCR, put on some CCR. If you're into Missy Elliott, put on Missy Elliott. Whatever the heck you want to listen to, just make sure that you like it and that you know it. That is going to be the most important element in getting this right. The next thing that I'm going to have you do is this. Take your speakers, and this is where things get weird. I want you to bring them as close as you can to you on either side, but keep the distance between the speakers. I would say, if you can get away with it, 7 feet, 7.5, 8 feet, maybe if you can get away with that. So you could, look to my right, look to my left, and there would be speakers there, okay? And here's where things get funky. I actually want you to pull them to where when you look, you can't even see the front baffle. Meaning, if I was to look at the speaker over here, I would be looking at the side of the speaker. And that is going to be our starting position. I'm going to explain why in just a minute. Grab yourself some tape and then run straight lines from the back of the speakers all the way to the front wall. Mark off the masking tape. Grab yourself a marker, whatever, pen, get yourself the tape measure, and start marking 1 foot back from the tape. So from the back of the speaker, 1 foot back, you're going to have zebra lines back to the front wall of little marks, okay? Now you sit down in the listening position and you play your music, and it's going to sound awful. And that is the point here, is in order to know when something sounds right, or in order to know when something sounds absolutely amazing, your starting position needs to be as awful as we can make it, because let's face it, if we start with the speakers on the front wall, the biggest trip up that a lot of audiophiles have is, well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound awful. I just have a lot of bass and this and that, but there's some good stuff in here. That's the problem. They get confused because they're like, well, I don't know what to be listening for, so I'm just going to leave them there. The cool thing about doing this is you're not going to hear any kind of definition at all. You're not going to hear any kind of detail. It's going to be really muffled, and it's going to be odd. So here's what you do. You play your track, and you listen to it. And then what you do, believe it or not, before you even move the speakers at all, so it sounds awful, is you do this. And I'm not kidding. I know this is weird. Things just got really romantic. Let me get my romance voice on. All right, so seriously, you listen, and it's dark, and you pay attention, and you listen to how awful it sounds. You stop the recording, turn the lights back on, and you move the speakers back 1 foot where you marked them, and you do the exact same thing. You play the music, you turn off the lights, and you listen. Is it better? Yes, it is, but it's still not good. It's just better. I still don't hear clarity. Like, I'm just getting the very edge of what I would define as something that is clear, but it's still odd. This is not correct. This is clearly not correct. Okay, turn back on the lights. Stop the music. Move them a foot forward. Okay, so now at this point, you are the most extreme near field that you could ever get. I mean, you're going to be looking at the speakers and be like right there, and you're going to be like, this is weird. But here's the thing. Stop looking at the speakers at this point, because you're going to be getting really close to some magical stuff. And if you're focused on how they look, you're going to be missing out on a huge opportunity. So you've got to trust your ears. So you play your track, you turn off the lights again. You're listening. Oh, okay, well, there's quite a bit more clarity here. This is definitely getting better, but it's still not right. I don't have the top end extension that I'm looking for. Well, okay, that makes sense. We're still so far off axis that we're not really doing these speakers justice. Turn back on the lights, move the speakers forward yet again. So I think by my math, we're 3 feet from our starting position at this point. Play your music, listen again, rinse and repeat. Light turns off. You're listening clearly. You will know without a doubt. Things just didn't get better, but all of a sudden, and you will know when it happens, I promise you, it might happen 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, but there will be a point where all of the clarity that you're looking for out of the speakers, it's there. You have perfect clarity, but at the same time, something really incredible and amazing will happen, and that is the speakers are actually not in the room. And it's freaky when it happens. You press play on the music, and all of a sudden, what used to be awful, better, a little better, holy crap, where did my speakers go? That is actually what the turn of events is going to look like if you use this method. I promise you, if you trust your ears and you listen to me about doing this, which is important, turn off your light. Don't look at the speakers. It doesn't matter what they look like or how close they are or how weird it is having them so far into the room. Just trust me on this. Trust your ears, listen carefully, play the music, and there will be a tipping point where you have gone from muffled, a little more clarity, a little more clarity, a lot more clarity. Wait a minute. Who jacked my speakers? Happy Frequency Friday. We'll see you guys next time.